arms aren't quite long enough to reach the soundboard. Whoops.
Hey everyone, I'm staring off into space. I was looking at who was joining us. So yeah, we are here tonight with Babes with Books, and we are talking about a man called Uva this evening. So thank you so much for joining us. As always, if you have questions or comments or anything throughout the night, we will be watching on our Facebook Live feed. So please join in the conversation. We are short one day tonight. Unfortunately, Shauna couldn't make it this evening, so hopefully she's feeling better. But I do have Miss Maya here. So
glad to join you.
Yes.
I look forward to this every month.
Me too. So a man called Uva.
Yep.
Hard to know how to pronounce that name, but
I know I pronounced it for a good 6 months as Ove. So
Yeah.
if I slip up tonight, that's why.
That's okay. It's not phonetic. I felt that this was a fantastic book. I'll just hop right in there and say that I thought it was a really good book. It's basically a book about an old curmudgeon man who he has lost his wife and he has in his mind no reason left to live. And through a series of fortunate or unfortunate events, basically it follows his life before her death and his life with his wife as well as after his wife in this little community. So I won't get into all the details of the book because if you want to read it, you might want to, one is not to spoil it, but I will just warn you ahead of time, there might be some spoilers in it. Hopefully they're good spoilers that make you want to read the book.
Yeah.
So, what did you think, Maya? Did you love the book? Did you hate the book?
I really enjoyed this book greatly, actually. I read it for a personal book club that I have with friends about 6 months ago. And I fell in love with Uva in the first 5 pages. He was, I don't know, he was exactly that grumpy old man that I think a lot of us know. Maybe our grandparents or, a favorite school teacher that you had or someone, right? Like even yourself, you can see him in. And
I hope I turn into a grumpy old person like him.
I know.
I wanted to hug him.
I did too.
Really?
Yeah, I did too. I really, really enjoyed this book. And then the book goes from, it opens with him, but most of the book is about, he lives in this apartment complex and he starts forming relationships with a few other people that live in this apartment complex. And these relationships were just lovely. They were special and kind and they were life-changing for a number of the people that are in this book as well. And it just, I don't know, I found this book really touching and real as well though. That was another thing I liked about it, is it felt real. Like I felt like you could walk into this apartment complex in any town and see these relationships happening. So
Yeah. So the opening scene in this book is Uva goes and he tries to buy a computer. And like many senior citizens trying to buy a computer, he has a lot of trouble understanding the salesperson, and he is just distraught by the time he leaves. And it's shortly after that we jump right into the fact that he doesn't want to live anymore and he tries to commit suicide.
yeah.
So for me, that went from I was laughing out loud to all of a sudden, oh my God, they're actually describing someone committing suicide in this book. And not only that, he fails at first. he does it a few more times. I'm
Yeah.
not going to tell you whether he succeeds by the end, because it might have been a tearjerker and it might not have been.
Yeah.
But
You also don't know in that opening scene, the writing by Frederick Backman, I loved in this book as well. So that was another reason I loved this book, because you don't realize his wife has passed away in this first book. And so I'm sorry for that one spoiler, is that magic is he's talking about her, and he's talking about like, oh, she turned the heat up, and oh, she left her shoes there. But it's all these past things that he's dealing with still. And then he's just still grieving this wife so much.
yeah, I
Um,
remember thinking, okay, he's complaining about dead.
Yeah, the love story between them in the flashbacks of his life. I loved their love story even. And it's not even that in depth. This book isn't about that. But it was just, I don't know. I mean, who doesn't love the idea of the 80-year-olds holding hands on the park bench? So,
Yeah.
well,
Well, going back to what you said about this book feeling very real, we have a viewer that's asked, what about, is there a specific writing scene or a specific piece that you felt made it more real for you?
like I said, that first scene grabbed me in this book when he's in that store, because even as a young person, you feel that frustration in a store and you're trying to communicate. And so that felt real. But then again, it's early in the book. It's nearly right away. He meets some neighbors because they are trying to back up a trailer and they crash
Just
into his
moving in.
mailbox. And he's incredibly frustrated and trying to keep his cool. And that scene right away, it hooked me right away, actually.
And I think for me, the stuff that made it real was that he was such an old curmudgeon, and I could see all of these scenes unfolding, and it wasn't that it was just his internal thoughts and he never acted upon them. I think once you reach that stage in life and you feel free to express your opinion, you don't just say them in your head.
No.
You actually say them out loud to everybody else, and he did that, and I thought that was more real than maybe some of the others that just make it more an internal dialogue.
Yes. Yeah. So, I felt like the book grabbed me right away and placed me within that complex. And sometimes books don't get you right there. And that's a struggle for me, is when you're a third of the way in and you're still trying to find your way into the setting or like a character's viewpoint, you've lost me by then. I'm probably not going to end up liking the book that much, actually. I think I'm like a right away grab. I'm not really willing to wait.
So how important do you feel then is opening scene in a book, going to kind of the writing process?
Huge. I think it's huge.
Do you like scenes that are more action-packed? And in this sense, I mean, he's only buying a computer, so it's not an action story, but he's actually
doing something, you mean, rather than
rather
I
than
do
just
prefer.
thinking about.
Yeah, I do think I prefer when you can. I think. How would I describe this? I don't want to be placed in that world, say with a description of a setting or an opening of a, that kind of thing. I feel like a scene, you kind of jump right in. It's almost like falling into a movie with that opening action scene. Whereas that panning landscape idea, no, I don't feel that as much.
I'm wondering if, this has just popped into my head with the whole movie comment, do you think our reading tastes have changed a lot over the years because of mass media? Like, it used to be, like literature, and that mass literature was the draw. That's the Prides and Prejudices of the world, the Lord of the Rings with their long drawn out descriptions and eloquent words. They were super popular, and now people like the short chapters, lots of action, not necessarily just plot based, but character based. With this one, kind of follows a lot of different characters and goes. Do you think movies and wanting to see something unfold in your head and seeing kind of having that to compare with has changed what we want in a book?
I think artistic styles, because they have become much more accessible as time has gone on, have joined in more ways than one. I also think movies have been impacted by books. And I think you could say that by the number of movies that are being made from fictional inspiration, because they're still doing something that film doesn't. So I think that I'm totally distracted now.
I know these boys
there
in the
was some
background are
giggling in the
giggling
background.
and making noises.
Sorry.
We have a team back there.
No,
fanboys.
I think that a lot of art has come together. Even if you think of like art, like paintings and stuff, you're getting a lot of popular media being brought in those ways that are very
Yeah, and
perhaps
it's
that
true.
might be
I
the way
mean,
I
pretty
feel.
much every book, it seems, is being made into a movie. Every book I fall in love with, I'm like, oh, this would make a great movie. Oh, it's coming out next month. You know, it's like someone thought of it
Yeah.
like way ages ago.
I
and
will say, sorry,
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I think that is kind of a neat mesh of
Yeah.
the arts, like you're saying. And there's always that debate, do you like the book or do you like the movie? Or
Yeah.
is it more, you know what, I like both.
yes, and I've really come to realize that as I've grown older. I really used to be like, oh, the book is always better than the movie. I've really come to think of them as two
That was
very
very
different
valid,
things.
girl.
Yeah, I've come to think of them as two very different things. I will say, when I do read a book, there are times when I think, oh, I'd love to see this come to life in a different form. But there was a book that was really popular within the last year. And as I was reading it, I thought, I don't like this. This sounds like a movie. It felt like I was reading a script rather than a fictional novel. And at the end, the author's write-up, that's what his job is actually, is a script writer in Hollywood. And this book had been kind of written
Yeah.
intending for that 100%.
And I think
And
it's
I didn't enjoy
because-
that book.
I think it's because as a reader, we expect those little things, and we've kind of started to come to the realization that not everything we love in a book is going to make it to the movie.
No.
And that's why we love the book so much, because if you read the book, you get all those nuggets. So if you've written something that is just
You
here's
didn't
scene
have
by
nuggets.
scene,
Yeah, it didn't
you
have
don't get
nuggets.
those hidden nuggets.
No.
And I think that's
I
probably what's
really missed that.
disappointed.
Yeah, I missed that. So, I mean, there are times I watch a movie, I'm like, oh, I missed that nugget. But, yeah, so.
So speaking of movie, I'm not sure if any of our viewers have seen the movie, but it is now, this book is now a movie, and it is actually a foreign film. So it's on Netflix right now, and it's all subtitled, which is very interesting. I had a chance to watch the movie. I thought that they stayed fairly close to the book. Like I said, I'm not as critical of movies now that leave portions out. There was a few
Yeah.
scenes that I wish they had put in. The one was the computer purchase, because I just laughed and laughed during that scene right at the beginning. And then the other one was the birthday party, where Uva gave I can't remember the daughters' names, but Prava's daughters.
Yeah.
She had an older one and a younger one. They spent an afternoon on the computer, and she had wanted like an iPad or whatever
And
for
gives
her
her one,
birthday,
right?
and he gives her one for her
Yeah.
birthday. And to me, that was really special. That relationship between the daughter and Uva. And
Mhm.
I guess my question to you is, which relationship do you think, without giving this away, affected Uva most? Or maybe you don't have an opinion on
I think the mother, it was,
Prava.
yes, I think Prava and him form a special bond. The relationship between the daughter and him is sweet, but I think that the relationship between her and him is much more realized. Is that a good word to use?
Yeah.
It just, yeah. It
Do you think
feels a
she,
little less.
in a way, became a surrogate for his wife? Because I think his wife kind of was the grounding factor for him. He,
Mhm.
all throughout his life, tended to go off the rails in a way, and it was.
I don't think she becomes a surrogate for his wife. That wouldn't be my opinion. I would say it's like they don't have children of their own, so maybe almost like that adult-child relationship where things start changing a bit, that
Right.
responsibility starts transforming, and you start to meet on that sort of different grounds. But maybe that's just because I'm struggling to not think of that romantic link that when you have the idea of a wife. But she definitely is a grounding influence for him and a comfort. She's a huge comfort for him. So, yeah. Did you think that? Did you see that?
Well, I think that he definitely needed someone in his life. Maybe, like, I guess when I say surrogate wife, I don't think that there was anything romantic there.
Yeah.
But I think he needed someone in his life that kind of said, this is the way you're supposed to be, Uva, and stop, like, you're watching us on TV. This is the way you're supposed to be, Uva, and stop. She, at one point, she just reprimands him. It was with the cat, that he just didn't want anything to do with, and then it ends up frozen to the ground one day, and she just orders him around, and he's like, you can't bring that in the house, and she just yells at him, it's like, get out of the way, and just puts him in his place, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
So,
what question did I have? There is a quote from the author, or it says the author reflects, "A time like that comes for all men when they choose what sort of men they want to be." And this is during one of the scenes that are flashing back to his youth, and he has to make a decision. Do you agree with this sentiment? Do you think that there's that moment in people's lives when we make a choice? Do you think that was it for him?
I do think there's a moment in people's lives where they decide what, and some people never reach that moment, and they kind of, and it suits them just fine. For me, I think there was that moment in my life. I like the question though, because it says there's a time in every man's life,
Yeah.
where men have to choose who they want to be, and I'm curious what our viewers think about that as far as the male perspective on that.
This was a very male book, I think.
Yes.
Even though there were strong female characters,
Yeah.
it was about masculinity. It was about who you become as a man, what your choices are, how you get there, and how you kind of keep going.
Well, and I love that it was a drama, a general fiction book that was meant for a male audience. I think
Yeah.
it was really meant for a male audience because there's so
Yeah.
much out there for women in that genre, and it seems like men read a lot of mysteries or nonfiction because that's the stuff that really
Giant
is
fantasy
for them.
tombs that are
Fantasy, of course,
800
fantasy,
pages long.
sci-fi, but there's
Yeah.
not a lot of general fiction out there that has
Nope.
like good dramatic stories, emotional stuff. This one, I think, is that.
Yeah. I have to admit, I liked this book so much. He released a book just this spring. It was called Beartown, Frederick Achman. Really lovely book, too, to pick up, especially Canadian. It is about a small hockey town, and then the different characters coming together there. And again, another very masculine general fiction book that I really enjoyed as well. So I'm
Yeah.
all over Frederick Backman right now. I think it was good.
Where's he from? He's
Swedish.
Yeah, it's a Swedish book.
Yes.
That's the name Uba.
Although, I have to ask you, did this read... I don't know how to say that. Like, did you realize that it wasn't written by someone that
Yeah.
English would be their first language?
Oh,
Or like that
Like
it
someone
wasn't
who-
North American?
yeah, English that wasn't.
Because it did not read that way to me. I was really surprised at the
It
end.
translated really well.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like I said, like it could have been an apartment block here in Canada. It wasn't like, oh yeah, that's definitely Sweden. Like I don't get what.
Yeah. There were some
Sometimes when
few
you read
things
these
with the
books-
way the community was set up that I was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely not North
Yes.
American infrastructure, so to speak.
But there's some things when you read and you're like, I don't get it, like, because it's just
Yeah.
so not a part of our daily life.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that way with this.
Well, and I think it's because they didn't focus on the world.
Right.
They focused on the people and the interactions, and I think that's actually a really good point because I think that it doesn't matter where you are in the world, those relationships translate the same way in every culture, and even Provena being ethnic is a very interesting. Indonesian. I can't
Yeah.
remember. They talk about the food that the country that
sorry.
she's from, but I'm sorry, I can't remember. But she's ethnic, and that whole culture that she brings in, the story just kind of translated really well across all continents and countries.
Did you have did you prefer the flashbacks of Uva, or the modern times? Because one of my questions that I had in here talks about how he goes on a trip with his wife and spends time helping locals and fixing things. And another large part of the flashbacks are about him building his own house by himself. And I actually don't think that was some of my favorite chapters. The perseverance of this young man to like go ahead and do it in the face of judgment and adversity. I really liked that part where he's building his house.
Yeah.
So
you know what? I don't think I could pick because I really liked Uva.
I know. Now we're
messed
combining
me
them.
up. I really liked Uva.
We can't.
Uva.
We're good.
I really liked him.
OVE.
In all of throughout his whole life. Like, we were introduced to him and I
Right.
loved him. And I think because I loved him right away, as an older gentleman, I wanted to find out more about earlier in his life. And so that's why I was so interested in earlier in his life, because I wanted to know what made him who he was.
Yeah. I talking about this book, because it was about 6 months ago that I read it, I consider myself, and in not necessarily a good way sometimes, a bit of a discerning reader. I don't frequently love a book or even like a book. I think out of the 8 or 10 we've done, I think there's been 3 that I really would like say I liked a lot or would recommend, and this is one of them. 100%.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, just talking about this book makes me remember how special I thought it was when we read it. Yeah, I thought it was just lovely. But then the interesting thing is I liked the one last month too. So apparently I'm like this.
Maybe you're just.
And it was about a man too.
Maybe you're just getting.
I need to find more books along this line.
You're more settled into what we pick here. I don't know. We're just doing a better job.
Well, I have like 2 books about
We
senior
have a couple
citizens.
more
I'm
questions.
getting old. Oh, we have questions.
Yes,
we love
another
questions
couple-
from
I
our
know.
audience.
Please give us questions. Was he always curmudgeon-y then?
Yes. Yeah, he's definitely. But they do tell us briefly about a childhood that's quite rough.
Yeah.
And that definitely influences who he is. Mm-hmm. He is, but
No, he
the
wasn't
word
always
curmudgeonly that we use for an old person
Yeah.
is more like introverted and isolated for a young person.
I
So I don't
think
know if those are the same words. 'Cause
And I
that's how
don't think he
would
was
describe
as
him.
a little child. Like when
No.
he was just with his father, as a young child, he worked on the trains with his dad, and I think that's when he was kind of coming into his own. But because he never really had a childhood, that kind of made him that isolated.
Yeah.
He was an older soul, right?
There you
From
go. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other question I have here is, what is the appeal? Old man yells at Cloud, Dennis the Menace, of curmudgeon-y old characters. Why do we like those old?
Who's the man?
Get off
what?
my
Old
lawn.
man yells
Well, you
at
know, on
Cloud?
Dennis the Menace, and you know, this old man yelling at a cloud.
Yes, I don't know.
Why do we like characters like that so much? For me, I think it's because it reminds us of our grandparents, or
I think it makes us have hope for when we're going to be older too.
makes it
They're
feel like
not
it's going to
awful
be
people,
okay.
but you realize that like when you get there,
I'm already there.
I don't. Why do we like these old? Do you know what the funny thing is?
But do we like?
I
them
don't
when
like
we
grumpy
meet
old
them?
women.
Yeah, we.
I don't like grumpy old
Oh,
women
that's
in a
true.
story. I'm like, you biatch. Like, but a grumpy old man, I'm like, aw, you're so cute.
So
That's how
does
I
this
react.
So is this very? Can we get into feminism now? Is this?
Wow.
It's okay for men
not
to be
good.
curmudgeon-y and old, but it's not okay for women because we have to.
Yeah,
be
no, we
perfect?
want women to be like these like doting, tea drinking.
I'll bake you cookies and
Yeah.
I'll take care of you forever and ever. And if you're grumpy as an older woman,
Okay, actually, I'm thinking hard.
yeah,
I'm thinking of like an old lady character that we always like. I think we like the curmudgeonly old man, and we like the like distracted, somewhat dumb old woman. Do you know what I mean? Like the lady who has
Again.
lipstick on her teeth, and
Again.
she's got her skirt tucked into her stockings, and like I'm
why
thinking,
has
like,
society done this to us?
Driving Miss Daisy, or I'm thinking, what's the other one? Fried green tomatoes. Like we like these little old ladies.
Well, there's
that are,
Grace
like,
and Frankie.
I haven't watched that. I see. Well, and no. And what about Absolutely Fabulous? That's pretty popular. Can we think of a fiction old lady?
In a book. No. If you have one, send it our way.
The
We
only
need some-
old lady fiction that comes to mind is there's an old lady. You know what? Old ladies are usually really mean in fiction. They're like the
evil
orphanage
step.
owners.
Or actually, it's interesting. You don't see a lot of older women in fiction
They
because
kill 'em off.
it's not okay for women to be old.
No, but in our book last month, she was a bit absent-minded. You were a little bit worried about her. She was, you know, she pees her pants at one point, and we liked her.
Yeah.
But if she'd been curmudgeonly, would we have liked her? Like if she'd been rude? Because he's rude at points.
Oh, he's so rude.
Like really. Like when we
It's
say
adorable. Right? And this is bothering me now.
what's the other like grumpy? Like yeah, this is strange. Wow, open up the can of
Murder, She
feminism.
Wrote?
Is she grumpy?
She's not grumpy. She's just
No.
very smart, very. Yeah,
I've never watched
I
her.
would still call
What about
her the
who
sweet
does the
old
Agatha
lady.
Christie? No. Who's Miss Marple?
Hmm.
Because she's I'm trying
Miss
to stick to
Marple
books.
is still quite sweet.
So okay, so we're
She's
okay.
grandmothery.
Yeah. So not curmudgeonly.
No.
No. I bet there's probably a lot of mystery novels. We like them to be a bit eccentric.
Yeah.
Because there's a very popular humorous mystery series, Ivanovich, and that she's got like a crazy grandma in it.
Yeah.
But if she was a miserable grandma, we wouldn't like it, I don't think. But if she had a miserable grandpa,
Grumpy old man. Like it's okay. See now, thanks. Okay, so your
I'm
challenge.
so distracted by this
Your
question
challenge
now.
for next month, because we're almost out of time here actually.
Yeah.
Your challenge is, you know, if you can comment on this video, let us know, are there any fictional characters, older women? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below. Is this an issue? Should we be fixing this in society, or should we just, you know, suck it up? Or are there characters out there that are grumpy old women that people love and adore, and we're just
Find
had it
us
all
a
wrong?
grumpy old woman.
Find us something to read with a
Yeah.
grumpy old woman. That's good. But I think we need to leave it there for.
Are we there?
We're there. We're
How
almost
does this
at-
happen every month?
I know you guys are wonderful. Thank you for your questions. I'd like to thank Olds Community TV for doing our filming and for our new wonderful opening. I don't know if you were with us at the very beginning of the show, but we have a new opening now. So thank you to Dean at Olds Community TV for that. And also to Pandora's Books, who is giving a $10 gift certificate. Our winner this month is Michael Baird. So congratulations, Michael. You can contact us about picking that up or getting that from us. And
I love our helpful sponsors.
yeah, we have some great sponsors.
know.
It's wonderful.
I just walk in at like 6:50. I sit down and I get to talk about books for half an hour. It's fantastic.
It's a great life.
I know.
What's next month?
Next month, there was a series on Netflix that was getting a lot of press called 13 Reasons Why, and it's about teenage suicide. And so I decided to pick a book that came out, I'm going with like 15 years ago. It's called Speak. It's by Laurie Halse Anderson. It won a number of, I think it won a few awards when it came out. And it touches along some of those same serious teenage issues that are going on in our society and that definitely need to be addressed. And fiction has been trying to do, a good job of that. So we're going to read Speak next month. It is a YA novel, so that's another thing that we'll be able to discuss is that emerging or emerged genre. And I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah. So
So if
pick
you
up Speak. It's a nice, it's not too thick. It's a good one to
summer
get
read.
through. Yeah, it's a good, summer reads. Don't we think of like Happy Go Lucky?
It's light, it's small, it's fast.
Yeah, you could carry it to the beach in your bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not like, don't bring Game of Thrones to the beach. Bring this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next month.